Hey guys, it's Reese Creed and welcome back to the Pathway Podcast. Today, I am talking with Nell Stritch, the amazing owner of Pressed Flowers by Nell, about how she made her passion project her business. I'm so excited for this episode, so let's get into it. Hi Nell.
Hi Reese.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good. Tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me a bit about this amazing business that just came out of nowhere.
Thank you so much for having me, Reese.
No problem.
So I opened my lovely little business, Pressed Flowers by Nell, 2.5 years ago. And it has just been the best decision I ever made. From the day I opened, I never looked back, and I've thoroughly, honestly enjoyed every day since. So I have a studio and a gallery and my workshop on Roches Street in Limerick City. It has a lovely pink door, a nice pink stairway.
It's very her now. It's very her.
It's very girly and it's very me. It's very flowery. So I work there most days. I have staff there as well, and we've customers coming in and out every day. We specialize in pressing bridal bouquets. That probably is, I would say, 85, 90% of our business.
Cool.
And we also have really cute little bookmarks, gift cards, lovely little gifts, fine art prints. So that's my business.
Oh, wow. So basically here on the Pathway Podcast, we talk about the journey to where you got to. So
Yes.
obviously now you have your amazing business. But when you were in school, where did you think your path would go? Like, what was your game plan when you were in sixth year?
So when I was in sixth year, I always thought I was going to be a primary school teacher from a very young age.
I could see you as a primary school teacher.
Yeah, I could have seen myself as a primary school teacher.
Not now.
Now I'm like, I can't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wanted to do that. I think in hindsight, it wasn't actually maybe what I wanted. It was more I had seen a lot of, like my role models, people, who were probably my age at the time, who were primary school teachers. And I thought, that sounds like a good job. I probably didn't have like a passion when I was younger. I always loved nature and flowers, but I certainly never saw myself having a business, and definitely not an artistic career. So I always thought I was going to be a primary school teacher until I suppose when I was maybe like kind of transition year, fifth year and sixth year, I made a lovely group of friends, and I feel like I really came out of myself then, and I kind of I think I actually just started to stand up for myself a bit more, and I kind of said, no, you know what, I don't want to be a primary school teacher. This has been pushed on me kind of in a way.
Yeah. You kind of had the pressure from people.
Exactly. I had, pressure from other people, influences, even teachers kind of recommending that path for me personally. I always loved art. I never thought I was good enough at art. I had really bad kind of self-belief, I suppose, in my artistic abilities.
Yeah.
So I never thought I would, be where I am today.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah.
But like that's a big thing kind of that students are going through now is peer pressure.
Yes.
And kind of like, being pushed into a direction that they might not want to go to. So when did you kind of realize this passion of yours? When did you kind of go, okay, I actually love flowers. I love flower arranging. I love, pressing flowers. And I really think that this is something that I can make a business out of.
I think probably literally the week I was doing the Leaving Cert, or maybe like a few days before.
Oh, stop.
So in kind of those maybe 2 weeks, I decided that I had studied so much in sixth year because I missed almost all of fifth year because I was sick. So for sixth year, I had to, study so hard to catch up.
Yeah.
That my energy levels were quite low. So I decided I was actually going to take a year out and, build up my energy and kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So in that year, I started working in Lawless Flowers, which is on Roches Street. So it's right beside where my business is now. and that's my uncle's business. My
Yeah.
grandmother opened it 40 years ago. She
Oh,
is or was an amazing businesswoman, and she has just inspired me so much on my journey. But I think when I started there, I just absolutely fell in love with flowers, floristry, nature, flower arranging, and I suppose it definitely is an artistic career that isn't encouraged in
of
school.
course.
I never heard a mention of, becoming a florist
No, and,
or a
like,
floral artist.
and even when you became one, I was like, "Oh, that's such a
Yeah.
mad profession." Like, it was
Everyone
like
thought I was mad.
I know, but, like, it's something that we're conditioned to see, like, we're like, "How can you make money from that?" Or, "How
Exactly.
can that be something that can actually sustain you for life?" Like, we look at
Yeah,
these people like teachers, business people, all these kind of people, and we kinda go, "Okay, that's a grand career because 'cause that'll make me money and that'll keep me,
exactly.
going for 10 or 15 year, whatever." But, like, you just really went for your passion,
Yeah, I just went for it.
and it's mad how it just all fell into place.
It really did. Yeah.
So, when did you kinda go from Lawless Flowers and you were kinda like, "Okay, this is great,
Mhm.
but now I want pressed flowers by Nell."
Yeah.
So when did that happen?
So that happened, I suppose, probably about 3 years ago. So I worked in Lawless Flowers for just over 4 years and loved every second of my journey there and wouldn't be where I am today, without that,
Yeah,
because that encouraged me to do this and it really helped me as well on my creativity, along that journey. So yeah, about 3 years ago, I suppose I was there and I was being creative every day, but I kind of felt like I wanted more, I wanted my own business
yeah.
and I wanted to be signing my name on things,
Obviously, yeah.
So I did it, I suppose, part-time as a hobby, from home, from my home in Clonlara in County Clare. And while I was there, I was so lucky. I had loads of friends and family who supported me in a way. They were almost like my guinea pigs. I could test
Of
my projects
course,
on
yeah.
them. And then I opened then in October of 2019. I got the keys for my studio, which was the best day ever.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was just amazing, even thinking it, but I'm so busy, I don't really sit down to
Yeah,
think
to
about
think
my
about those
business
things.
often, but I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, God, like when I look back to when I was in school, I mean, this is the stuff dreams are made of from,
Of
I would have
course.
never thought, that my business would be where it is now or that I yet alone even have a business and a business, thank God, that is booming,
Yeah.
you know?
And something that, like, obviously the kids are gonna wanna know is when you start a business, what goes into that? Like, you obviously don't just go, "Oh, I'm gonna set up a stall here and just sell all my stuff and I'm gonna be a millionaire." Like, obviously there's hard days, there's
There's lots of them.
accounting, there's money, there's
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So, what would be kind of like your 3 lessons that you learned from starting your own business?
Yeah. So, I mean, anyone I suppose who's thinking of going into business, like I would seriously say, think about it. It's not something that just happens overnight. I mean, there is so much that goes on behind the scenes that, people don't even think about or would even realize, I suppose. I mean, for the first year, I probably did 6 or 7 12-hour days. I'm
Yeah.
still doing 12-hour days, but I adore it. I wouldn't have it any other way. So I suppose definitely just make sure it is what you want to do. But then again, at the end of the day, you know what? If you've started something and it's not the journey for you, I mean, is it really the end of the world?
No.
You can always change your path. I remember before I opened my business when I told my parents and I was, slightly nervous saying, will it work out? And my dad said to me, and he took a big pause and I didn't know what he was going to say. And he said, sure, he said, so what if it doesn't work out? You'll get up and you'll do something else. And I said, you know what? That was probably the best advice ever because I didn't stress about it then. I just said, you know
Yeah.
what? If it works, it works. So I gave it everything. Thankfully it did. It did work. So yeah, I think that's just the main thing. Just make sure you want it. Like just give it everything, that you can. Get an accountant.
I
That is
know
needed.
if I was starting a business, that'd be the first point of call. I'm so bad with my own money, so I can't even imagine running a business with all
Uh,
that money coming through. So yeah, it's just a mad journey listening to it, you know. But
Yeah.
moving on from that, like what are like the main things where like those aha moments where you kind of look and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened, or I can't believe
Mm.
that that happened. I know that you've gone so many different places with Press Flowers by Nell. So what would be a couple of places or a couple of like standout moments from when you started Press Flowers by Nell that you are really, really proud of?
So a few stand out, I suppose. One thing that I just love is when businesses ask me, if they can display their or my work in their business. So last August I had a pop-up store for a month in Willow in Ennis. It's a gorgeous fashion boutique on O'Connell Street. They just have the most amazing stuff. So I loved being there because I
Yeah,
felt like the style and everything just really matched my artwork. So that was incredible. Habit Coffee and Retail, they display and sell my artwork in both of their Limerick stores and their Galway store as well. And what's really amazing is when I'm in there ordering coffee, which is so many times a day,
me
I'd be
too.
ashamed to tell you.
I've seen the work in there many a time because I'm in there all the time getting
I'm
my caffeine
always
fix.
in there, yeah. And when I hear people or overhear people, discussing or admiring my artwork, and I'm just standing there ordering my coffee, they don't know it's me.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was recently accepted for Acorns, which is a program basically to help women living in rural Ireland bring their businesses to the next level. Which I couldn't believe it when I was accepted. I mean,
Yeah,
I had applied 3 times. I really wanted to get it because I do want to bring my business to the next level, and I believe I can, but I do, I need guidance,
of course.
and I have a mentor now who just has an incredible business. To even have a conversation with her is incredible, yet alone receive advice from her. So that was like an amazing moment when I heard I was accepted for that.
Oh yes, there like
Yeah.
there's a lot of standout moments.
Yeah.
And where do you kind of want to see Press Flowers by Nell go? Like obviously,
Hmm.
you're in your Rocher Street studio. Is there any kind of long-term goals that you have or things that you're like, okay, this is a mad dream, but I really want it to happen for me?
Yeah. Loads, Reside. Dream big.
Well, it worked, so keep dreaming.
Yeah, so loads. Like I am so happy where my studio is at the moment. I love it there. It has been so good to me since I've opened the lovely pink door on the 1st of October. But I would love down the line to have maybe a larger retail store on the ground floor. Possibly have maybe a few stores,
Amazing.
in other places. Like I recently looked at a unit in Galway, which is just
I feel like that would so totally suit your
yeah, I
business.
think so too.
Yeah, so
So we'd have to see, but that is the dream. I'm hoping to have an exhibition like myself soon, but at the moment, um, nearly every piece I make sells, which is
great
a
complaint.
great complaint. But I need to be more disciplined, make a collection, and keep it private
Yeah,
until I have an exhibition. Um, so I just need to be disciplined and do that over the next few months.
so, what kind of tips would you have for anyone that kind of wants to get into it, like a creative field? Because I know that it's very, very hard to make a creative idea, especially what you do and artwork and different kind of creative mediums, a job. So, what kind of advice would you give to people that were kind of in those industries?
So maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I read a quote in a magazine, and I cut it out and put it on my diary for, I think it was like the year 2017. And I stuck it on with Pritt stick, and I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, create, 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 and keep creating until, you get better. And it was like, even if the artwork is dreadful, like just keep doing it. And I just think like you can't create enough, if you are an artist or you're looking to get into a creative career, like keep doing whatever it is that you love, because you could make 10 pieces, they could all be dreadful, but then your 11th one is, a masterpiece, and you're just so glad you kept going. So definitely just keep on creating. Like I know for me personally, particularly in the first few months of my business, because there isn't really there's no other press flower artist in Munster, and
Yeah,
certainly
like
in Ireland.
it was such a unique idea. I'd never seen it
Yeah,
before.
there's
So
there's not that many of us, and I used to get quite anxious when people used to ask me what I did, because I would say, "Oh, I work with pressed flowers," and my friends used to always saying to me, "Say you're an artist," but I didn't want to say that. I didn't think, I suppose, highly enough of my artistic abilities. But now I'm like, no, I own it, and I'm like, I am an artist,
no, of
So I think
course.
that is a big thing, just to believe in yourself and own what you do and who you are.
So now we're actually going to look at one of the pieces you have created. So, oh my gosh, look at that. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you,
So,
Reese.
what goes into this? Like, do I know that you obviously do commissions and you obviously do then
Yes.
your own designs. So this one is obviously a commission. So kind of what did the customer kind of come to you and say? Like what guidance did they give?
So this is a commission piece that I made recently for a lovely couple, Jer and Mike. And they've actually gotten their names and their wedding date. I've hand wrote them. It's personalized on it. So when this couple got married, they dropped their flowers into my studio in Limerick City. And I then began, I suppose, the process and the journey of pressing them and drying them out naturally. So that takes between 10 to 12 weeks, depending on the flower types. This particular bouquet, it probably took around, I would say, maybe the full 12 weeks. So within that, there is so much work. There is hours of
I can
checking
only
on
imagine.
every single petal, every single little berry, each individual leaf, and just making sure, I suppose, that everything is pressing to perfection, really, which is
Yeah,
is what I want. So when the flowers were pressed, I contacted the customer and we arranged a design consultation. So the way I work commissions most of the time, if customers are happy with it, is I like them to have a massive say in what they would like, because at the end of the day, it's hanging in their home,
of
not
course.
mine.
Yeah.
Obviously I want to love it and like them as well, because it's my name going on inside the frame. So that is one thing I suppose I've learned over the last few months now, is I encourage my clients to get, I suppose, what I like, because it's my artwork, that
Yeah.
they're purchasing. So this couple have gone for a beautiful textured watercolor paper, which I recommend to most of my customers. And then this beautiful baby pink frame is hand painted. So one thing that I love about my business is when you buy, we'll just say, this particular product from me,
Yeah.
you're you're not only supporting my business, but I buy all of my materials, my paper, my glue, everything from Silks Arts and Crafts, which
So it's
are
all
on
local.
Catherine Street. It's all local, and the frame is handmade and hand painted in Limerick City on Ann Street by the Framing Centre. So that's three businesses, that you're supporting
Yeah.
already. So they had requested a love heart. So I designed them in the shape of a love heart, and I I love it anyway, to
Oh
be
no, I
honest.
think it's fab. No, it's actually so so cool. So obviously you just said there that you like collaborate with like the Freeman Center and stuff. Do you feel like supporting local businesses is something that people should do all the time?
Absolutely. I think it's so important. Like, we've all seen that quote on Instagram, when you support a small business, a person does a happy dance.
Yeah.
I can say from firsthand experience, like, it's so true. Every time someone places an order on my website, whether it's a 250 gift card or a 250 bespoke piece of art, I'm just always over the moon. And I do think it's so important. It's probably one of the positive things to come after the last 2 years. I think people are realizing the importance of it. I hope it continues, that people will always remember it. But yeah, I think it's so important to support local, and I mean, I personally, on a business level and personal, have built up lovely relationships with local businesses in Limerick, in Clare, where I'm from and where I live, and even in Galway and out in Adair. People really appreciated business owners. I mean, staff members, and it just keeps where we all live and where we love to live. It keeps it a nicer place.
Of course. And do you feel that like it's important for us to collaborate, like especially if you're starting your own business, to collaborate with other businesses and to, build those relationships? Like I know that you were recently in Eva McNamara's cottage, like
Yes.
two Limerick women working together, amazing to see it. And
Mm.
different things like that. Like, do you feel like you kind of gain something from collaborating with these different businesses from around Limerick and other surrounding areas?
Definitely. I think at the start, I used to think, that if I collaborated with a business, that it would be, amazing for me. But I realized, yeah, after I had done a few collaborations, it's actually equally as beneficial for both businesses, which I never thought of. So, like the collaboration with Aoife Ireland and Aoife McNamara was amazing. It was such a nice compliment to display my artwork in her cottage. I created a bespoke collection for her, and it's for sale now on her website. Um, but yeah, I just think it's so invaluable. Like it's a great way to get to know people. For business owners to be able to recommend your experience, your product, from firsthand experience is better rather than them just recommending you without any, um, without them having seen your product in person.
So, you were recently nominated for a Network Ireland Creative Businesswoman of the Year. So, did you ever think that that would be something that would be coming out of your mouth?
Never. Never. Yeah, it was amazing to be nominated and then, to be a finalist as well was just it was such a nice compliment, and it's lovely to see in the Network Ireland how supportive they are of creative careers. A lot of networking groups and mentoring programs, they don't focus on creative careers and artists. So it was really nice to be recognized as, okay, yes, you're a businesswoman, but you're a creative businesswoman, and to feel my art was seen, and to be rewarded for that was a really nice feeling.
Yeah, and do you have any kind of like standout like accolades or anything like that? Kind of things that you were like, oh my god, I never believed that people would say this about my work, or that I'm featured in this, or that I'm featured in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes when, customers buy my artwork, a lot of them would come into my studio, or they would buy on my website, and
Yeah,
we would ship it to them. So if they order online, I just see the name and what they've ordered, and it goes to their house. And I suppose, I think, oh my, how grateful I am of that order. But I don't think of it really, wow, this is hanging in someone's house.
yeah,
The same when customers pick up their pieces, it happens quite quickly. The people are rushing, they're in, they love it, they buy it, and they leave. But when I'm always in awe is if I go to somebody's house and I see my artwork on the wall, or even if I um, see people on Instagram that I wouldn't know, but they would put up photographs. It might even be a selfie, and in the background they've tagged me, and it's a piece
yeah.
I've made hanging on their wall, and that's really cool to see. People don't just buy them and put them in the
Yeah.
corner; they're pride of place in people's homes.
And social media is such a big part of your business as well. I think that's how I heard about Press Flowers by Nell. Like,
Mm,
obviously, I know you for years, but like,
yes.
I just saw it pop up on my Instagram one day and I was like, God, this is an amazing business. And do you feel like you've gotten a lot of traction on your social media? Do you feel like that's a major part that young entrepreneurs need to know about? Is like tapping into that kind of world as well to kind of generate sales that way?
Absolutely. Like, I personally just think it's so essential. Um, I love Instagram because it's like, I find personally it's a very visual place. Being an artist, I just love seeing things rather than, reading. So I just love it for that reason. It's been amazing for my business. I suppose when my Instagram really took off was at the start of the lockdowns. I kind of realized, okay, I'm going to, you know, need to give it a bit of a push now. So I started, recording little videos and kind of like talking to the phone, is that what you call it?
Yeah, yeah.
Which never thought I would have done because I was very, very shy. When I first opened my business, I'm not as shy now, I don't think. But I feel like when I started doing that, the business just took off. People saw who Nell is,
Mm.
and saw me at work and just chatting about day-to-day things. So I definitely think it's essential. Like, I mean, I um, built up my followers, and then unfortunately my Instagram page was hacked.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that
that
actually makes you feel
was
like I think I'd
at the
die if that happened to
time
me.
I was so stressed about it and I was so disappointed. But in hindsight, looking back on it now, it actually was a really good thing for business because everybody got behind my new page. I was able to see and feel, the love and support that people had for
Yeah,
my Instagram, and as well, it got everyone talking. Oh
of
my God, did you hear
course.
Press Stars by Nell's Instagram page was hacked? So it was great from that point of view. I have built it back up now, but I do know I need to put work into it. I'd love
Yeah,
to do cool little videos and
and
stuff,
stuff
but
like that. Yeah, but
yeah.
and my last question for you is if you had any advice for students that are really, really debating what they want to do, what would you say to them?
So I would say be true to yourself. Tune into what you love and what brings you enjoyment and pleasure, and don't be afraid to take the path less traveled. um you don't have to do what your friends are doing, do what you actually want to do. So take some time to reflect on what you enjoy and what you would love to see yourself doing, even if it only seems like a dream. I mean, there's no reason why it wouldn't be possible.
So thank you so much, Nell, for joining me today. It was so, so fun to hear your story. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Reese. Thank you
No
so much for
problem.
having me.
Oh, it's great. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Pathway Podcast. If you want to follow our socials, they're at My Pathway Journey on Instagram, TikTok. You can find us everywhere, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.